imagine sitting around the dinner table with a group of family or friends for a night of fun. Before breaking into that board game or starting the movie, you all decide to order some pizza. You agree to throw in an equal amount of cash to order the pizza. However, the group only has enough for 1 extra large pizza or 2 mediums. Of course, each person wants something different. There is some overlap, but at least 1 or 2 people will not be able to get exactly what they want. Is it fair that they should pay the same for the pizza as the other people? Hi friends, I'm Caroline. This is an example of the struggle that exists between the public good and the individual will. The U.S. faced this same kind of struggle over many issues between its member states during the drafting of the Articles of Confederation and the U.S. Constitution. In this lesson, we will analyze the Articles of Confederation in terms of its principles and structure and its strengths and weaknesses. Let's dive in. First, we will discuss the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation was the first agreement in America which responded to the need to create a social contract for the establishment of civil society. We will do this so that we can evaluate the degree to which it manages that tug-of-war between public good and individual will. Rewind, review. Take a moment and think back. What is a social contract? A social contract is one in which people give up certain natural rights in order to have other rights, such as property, secured by a government. All 13 states signed on to the Articles of Confederation, and in 1781, a weak central government was formed. Remember, as mentioned in the previous lessons, America is founded upon classical liberalist theory, which had been spread throughout the Enlightenment era. Classical liberalism is a political and social philosophy that promotes individual rights, civil liberties, democracy, and free enterprise. Adam Smith, a well-respected Scottish Enlightenment philosopher, also pointed out that self-interests end up providing for the social or public good. It was thought that a weak central government would best provide for the public good because it would allow for more individual and state freedom. So the Founding Fathers constructed a confederalist structure between the 13 states. They did this because they saw that each state was different. By allowing each state more freedom to decide over their laws, the Founding Fathers sought to preserve the individual will of each state, which simultaneously would help establish the public good. Key takeaway here, the Founding Fathers believed that, by preserving individual will, the public good would be established. The expectation was on the individual, not the government, to establish the public good. Alert! We have a new word! A confederation is a group of people or nations that has formed an alliance, allowing each member to govern itself but agreeing to work together for common causes. This alliance placed certain responsibilities onto the national government and reserved all other responsibilities to the states. The creation of the Articles of Confederation and a stronger alliance between the states can be connected back to the philosophical thought of Baruch Spinoza, a radical Enlightenment philosopher who argued that a natural state arises out of a necessary condition to cooperate towards some common goal. The Articles of Confederation was created with the understanding that the individual, through self-interest, was a central force by which the public good would solidify. So a powerful central government was not viewed as necessary and actually was viewed as counter to the concept of liberty as understood by classical liberalism. The structure that the Articles of Confederation created consisted of one branch, known as a unicameral form, and this branch was legislative or law-creating in nature. Alert! Sound the alarm! Unicameral means one branch of government, and it is usually legislative or law-creating in nature. Once the basis of this system was constructed, each state was given one vote for passing or denying laws, and these votes were cast by delegates who had been selected through their home state's legislatures. It would take 9 out of the 13 votes to pass any given law, and the body would have to vote unanimously, with all 13 states voting in favor to amend any articles or to change the system entirely. Setting this system up did have its weaknesses. The national government could only request that states pay taxes to it, but not force them to, which meant that it would be extremely difficult to raise enough revenue for national projects, and, oh yeah, they were fighting a war with England. Further, there was no way to enforce the laws being passed at the national level. The Confederacy would rely on the honor system for compliance with laws. Not only that, but the states would still be generating their own specie. Alert! Here's another quick term for your brain bank. Specie is paper and coined money. By allowing states to print their own currency, the agreement rendered the continental dollar almost completely valueless, especially because of the national government's inability to enforce taxes. Also, there were no national courts set up, and therefore no way to settle disputes between the states. The inability for the national government to raise money for infrastructure or to maintain a military would make it difficult to create a national system, period, or for the national government to help prevent or defeat rebellions arising from the people. Though the goal was to have a weak central government, the contract did assign some important powers to the national government. The national government could now coin money in the form of continental dollars, declare war, develop foreign policy, determine relations with Native Americans, run the post office, borrow money, appoint military officers, and raise an army and a navy. It allowed for differences among the nation and the continued emergence of regional cultures. You know, like some liked pepperoni, some liked plain cheese, while others liked ham and pineapple, and everyone was able to get what they wanted. The average citizen had more potential to secure power themselves. Revolution was easier in the face of corruption. In general, it was more difficult for the people to be oppressed through law, the market, and the military. However democratic the system was, its deficiencies made resolving the issues of the post-war period difficult, and in the end it slowed economic development. In the end, the Founding Fathers ended up deciding that this wasn't the best way to pick their pizzas. Their form of government. In the next lesson, we will take a closer look at those issues. Let's recap. Today we learned that the Articles of Confederation was the first social contract established to govern the United States of America. It was based on liberal principles, such as individual will and limited government. Although it preserved freedom through empowering the states, it could not effectively handle the issues facing the young nation. So long. This is your instructor, Caroline, signing off. Have a great day, and remember, vote, debate, and participate. Hey.